because of keto, so many things are now labeled carb-free, sugar-free, and it's all whey protein, which ends up converting into sugar.
Right.
It ends up converting into sugar. So you might be saying, well, wait, hold on a second, Carlos, but how did, that's why I call whey protein the greatest scam on the fitness industry, right?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Beyond Biohacking Brother episode. So last time we spoke, if I can remember, about the key molecules we use in our practice that are missing in our soils today and that run 99% of the machinery.
Yeah.
And that whether you take testosterone hormones or not, you're lacking these molecules, and if you are, your body is breaking down much faster than what it was intended to break down. So today we're going to speak about my brother's favorite subject that he never stops ranting about, but he does have a point, is essential amino acids. And of course, I'm here today joined by Carlos, my blood brother, and our own Dr. Rudy, everyone that's on vacation right now. So we get to blabber and rant about whatever we want on this show.
Yeah. And talk about the things that sometimes he's not the most consistent with.
He's the worst patient in the world, but
he's not. We just tell him that so he can get better.
He's an amazing doctor, but just terrible patient. How about that?
We love Dr. Rudy. Shout out to him. But yeah, man, I know that you say it's my favorite subject. I think it's our favorite subject too, in reality, in terms of the effect that this has on our patients, like progress and results. Like I remember when you first sent me this research many years ago, over 5 years ago. And, you and I had been doing this in our personal life for so long. We were competitive athletes. We were always looking for an extra edge. We started getting into the world of supplements at a very early age. And, we went through every kind of diet that you can think of, products to build muscle and protein requirements. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But when I read this research, which was in a book that I recommend everybody to read by Dr. David Minkoff, The Search for the Perfect Protein, and big shout out to him because he was kind of the guy that put this on the map and we interviewed him. So if you want to, follow up this podcast with more in-depth knowledge about amino acids, nutrition, and performance, make sure to go to our YouTube channel and look that interview up. I mean, this guy is one of our models, right? Yeah. I mean, this dude is the epitome of performance. He's what?
73-year-old man, 76.
Yeah.
43-time Ironman competitor, 8-time world champ qualifier. And it's just a total badass.
Total badass, if you ever get like seriously sick, this is who I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get into it.
Oh, and if you do watch our video interview with him online, because all our long videos, our round tables are broken down into 15, 20-minute segments. It could be, 3 to 7 of them. But if you go to our playlist, there's one called Shorts, and you will find, in case for those of you that don't have the time and just want the fun facts, go to our YouTube, look up the Shorts, and you'll find essential amino acids, and it's all the juicy parts that you need to know.
Yeah, it'll give you little snippets about the importance. Yeah. But, I think that for, to step back a little bit and kind of organize this talk, we are going to be talking about something that's really important that you have heard probably all your life that's really important, and that is the effect of protein. But I think that for the most part, people like I myself, when I first read this research, I felt like I had been lied to all my life. And we were in this industry, right? And I felt like the information was just like, my God, I've been doing the wrong thing for so long. So just as a preview to all of you listening, I promise you that when we're done with this, if you really sit and sit with us, you will learn something today that will shape how you view food for the rest of your life. And that's very important for us.
A big statement, but yes.
That's a bold statement, but it's really important for us because, listen, I guess our biggest talent or the biggest value from our company is kind of the education that we give you because, products and services will have an expiration, Like once you run out of medication, you got to come back, right? Once you run out of supplements, you got to rebuy them. But if we equip you with knowledge, that lasts forever. And the cool thing is that once you have that knowledge, like my brother likes to say, you'll be your own CMO, your chief medical officer, and you'll be able to make better decisions when you're in your journey that will move you closer to your goal rather than further away from it. So that is what we plan to do today. So before I get there, Miguel, I think it's really important for people and for people to really understand what are the three currencies of the body, because a lot of people don't really understand the function of carbs, proteins, and fats, which are the three currencies of the body. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper into what are the value of these things and how our body actually processes these things, right?
Yeah. So the way I like to start, whether you eat a piece of chicken, a fruit, or a chocolate cheesecake, it doesn't mean anything to the body. The way the body trades and communicates is only in three forms: fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. Now, you can even go even further to say that all food that's eaten is genetically foreign to the body until it's broken down into its smallest particles. So in this case, fats would be broken down into fatty acids,
essential fatty
and then
acids.
you have non and essential fatty acids.
Right.
Proteins can be broken down into into amino acids, and then you have essential and non-essential amino acids. Right. And then carbohydrate would break down into glucose ultimately. And then the other thing that you want to know is that your body can store fats and it can store carbohydrates, but it cannot store amino acids. We don't have a storage reservoir for them. And if you don't consume them strategically on a daily basis or in specific periods, you will not only break down muscle, but you will break down your immune system, your hair, your nails. It goes way beyond just muscle, guys. And we'll get into the details.
For sure.
So in order for all of this to happen, it needs to go through a process called the Krebs cycle. With the Krebs cycle is inside the cell of the mitochondria, within the mitochondria. And within the mitochondria, you have literally the whole solar system and the complexity of it. That's how much complexity there's inside one cell. It literally looks like an engine. And some parts do behave like an engine, actually. So the inner cell machinery has to convert organic matter into electricity from food. Everything you eat has genetic information. If you eat some cheetah chips, which don't come from a cheetah, by the way, that has to convert into food, and that is all artificial stuff versus eating a piece of broccoli. But even whether you eat a piece of broccoli or some Funyun chips, it's all genetically foreign until it's broken down into those three forms of currencies in the body.
Which produce energy. Yeah,
which
correct.
produce energy.
And just to regurgitate.
Oh, yeah. Wait, sorry.
Go ahead.
So when it comes down to amino acids, we have essential amino acids. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to fats, we have essential fatty acids. And glucose is essential when you're a glucose addict and you're dependent on it. But you can run on other resources. But yes, it would be categorized in this case as essential, but just know that you can run without it. Now, when it comes down to essentials, these are not things that are nice to have. These are not things that you should be having. These are things that if you don't get enough of into your body, you will start to create imbalances. Those imbalances will convert into what we know as dis-ease of the system.
Yep. And so to kind of regurgitate a little bit of what you said. So, just to kind of recap. So your body trades in these currencies, and you have the biggest value out of protein is essential amino acids. And we'll get into the difference of what essential and non-essential is. But ideally, when you eat protein, what your body is really after is essential amino acids. Yeah. It doesn't care whether it was a piece of beef or it was, a pack of peanuts. All it's extracting is the essential amino acids, right? That's the biggest value of protein is the essential amino acids, right? Then from fat is fatty acids, essential fatty acids. Right. And then there's carbohydrates where, glucose is extracted. Notice how we did not say that you have essential carbs, because carbs are not a necessity. Actually, when you look at it, the daily requirement for glucose in the body amounts to about a teaspoon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what you need to remain alive. And your body, as Miguel said, your body, and this is what a lot of people don't know about protein, your body can convert protein into sugar.
And fat.
Very easily. And it can convert fats into sugar as well. Right?
Something called gluconeogenesis.
Correct.
Gluco is glucose, neo as in conversion, and genesis formation of.
So in human terms, and this is another bold statement that most people are very shocked by, in technicality, your body does not need protein. So everyone that's ever told you, oh, you need to consume a massive amount of protein. So the reality is that your body does not need protein. As Miguel said, protein is actually foreign to the body until it gets broken down to its, molecular counterparts where it's used for energy, right? So your body doesn't need any protein. But here's the distinction before I lose you. It's not that your body needs protein, it's that your body needs to manufacture. It needs to make hundreds of thousands of proteins per day, right? For things like
second.
a lot of times for seconds, but for things like, what do you need protein for? So you need proteins for your hair, your skin, your bones in the form of collagen proteins, right? Yeah. Then you need them for actin and myosin, which are muscle proteins. But then
your antibodies from your immune system are amino acid based. Your digestive enzymes, amino acid based. Most neurotransmitters are amino acid based. Hormones like melatonin, growth hormone, insulin, and thyroid are amino acid based.
Right. So you need to make proteins for all of these systems, your thyroid, your brain, like your heart, everything. I mean, your sperm production depends on protein, right? So
in a whole system of the hallmarks of aging, one of them, which are the fundamental pillars in our biology that occur with aging at a cellular and molecular level, and are the pillars that are the key drivers to the aging process. One of them is loss of proteostasis, formation of proteins. The machinery system starts to misfire, and it starts to happen when you don't get the proper essential amino acids into your system.
Damn. So to recap, right? You don't need proteins, you need to make them. And eating protein is not necessarily the best way to make proteins, right? So what you need is amino acids. And here's why, we want to debunk a lot of this myth that you need to eat 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein, right? Let's just kind of debunk that. But before we get there, let's talk about the absorption rates of protein. And this is where Dr. Minkoff was great. He kind of educated us on this, that no protein is created equal and all proteins have a different absorption rate. So to give you sort of like a frame of reference, right? The protein on planet Earth that has the highest degree of absorption rate of any other protein on planet Earth, coincidentally, happens to be human breast milk.
We got a factory running in our backyard with this stuff. Come over.
Wouldn't that be crazy? So if I drink a cup of mother's milk, which would be crazy, right? I'm only going to extract 49% of that protein, right? And then
that when our wives are pregnant, I'm going to be
I'm going to be sucking on that thing, which is kind of weird. But all right, before we lose the entire population, let's just stick to. So you got 49% of human breast milk, and none of us are going to be drinking human breast milk every day or ever. The second best thing is whole eggs, the yellow and the white, at 48%.
The yolk and the white.
Correct. And then it trickles down into the meat, the poultry, and the fish. Meat at about 30 to 32%, arguably if it's organic, grass-fed, all that stuff, right?
Say 22 to 30%.
Yeah. So let's just call it an even 30%. Then poultry, whether it's turkey or chicken, about 28%, and then fish, 22% if it's canned, 26% if it's wild. So think about that for 1 second. If you ate a hamburger patty that said it's 30 grams of protein, you are not getting
9 grams.
30 grams of protein. You're getting 9 grams worth of human protein, right?
And then if you took your whey or vegan protein, 30 gram scoop of protein after your gym, you're only getting 4.8 grams. We haven't gotten into that, which is
let's segue into that. So whey protein, which is a very popular product in the
whey, soy, dairy, and nuts,
has at most a 16% absorption rate. Or less. So what does that mean? So when you take a scoop of whey protein, that it says 30 grams per scoop, you're only getting about 4.5 grams.
4.8 to be 4.8 grams
out of a 30 gram scoop of whey protein.
The other 25 grams is becoming just sugar.
Yeah, so that's what I like to tell people. I'm like, what do you think happens to the 84%?
Right.
Do you think, oh, well, we just poop it out? Well, I wish, but it actually gets converted into sugar, which then gets converted into fat if it's not utilized. So really, when you look at whey products, you have to consider them 84% carb.
Right. That's not to mention all the inflammatory response from the IgE
All that.
agents of all the
All
dietary
that.
products that create incomplete digestion, because all forms of protein are genetically foreign, but specifically coming from a dairy, from an animal, and that produces, that lactates.
Yeah.
They're protein amino acid profiles that don't belong in our body, and they're incomplete, and that's why our bodies get bloated.
Right.
And in fact, just to be clear with you guys and women, eating food is not necessarily a restorative process. It's actually a very stressful process for the system, because it has to separate all these agents, get rid of all the toxicity, hence why your immune system, 90% of it comes from your gut, because guess where you have to separate all the toxicity. So just so you know that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so-
Sorry.
No, great point. Great point. I mean, so these compounds, when you eat whey protein or you drink whey protein, consider that it's 84% sugar. Let that sink in for a second. And what do I mention whey protein specifically? Because you've seen it, man. Like this ketogenic diet, which is, people think of the ketogenic diet. It's not a diet. It's a metabolic process, right? But because of keto, so many things are now labeled carb-free, sugar-free, and it's all whey protein, which ends up converting into sugar.
Right.
It ends up converting into sugar. So you might be saying, well, wait, hold on a second, Carlos, but how did, that's why I call whey protein the greatest scam on the fitness industry, right? Because so many people, part of their active fitness lifestyle is, whey products, right? And, and then you wonder why they're not getting a lot of results.
Let's talk. That would be the Batman. The Robin would be here. Branched chain amino acids, which is leucine, isoleucine, and valine,
right?
Which is 3 of the essential amino acids out of the 8. Some people will debate it's 9 based on Dr. Minkoff, the badass Iron Man, 75-year-old man, and all his research. There's 8 essential. The one that's considered a non-essential in his book is histidine, is because the patients that he had taking his product, when he tested their blood, this histidine level went up, so making it a non-essential. Anyways, the point is that branching amino acids only contain 3 of the amino acids, and that has a 99% of it gets converted into sugar. You only absorb 1%.
Imagine that. So how did this come about, right? Like, hey, Carlos, but guys, like whey protein has been used by bodybuilders and fitness industry for decades and decades and decades, and all the research.
Balloon belly.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I want you to focus on. Who were the people that were promoting these products? Were there scientists or doctors? It was bodybuilders on the cover of these things. Now, here's why bodybuilders actually use this stuff, right? Like, if you're someone who's on $20,000 of anabolic steroids, you're lifting 700 pounds, and you're making a life out of making pictures, and you want up your muscles to pop. I mean, you want that glycogen injection, which is produced by carbs, to drive it into the muscles and make them pop, right?
Right.
That's why bodybuilders use it. Not to mention that they cannot eat all of the food that they need in order to get this caloric, surplus that they need in order to build. So how does that relate to you, the end user, who usually doesn't have the aspirations to be a bodybuilder? I mean, look, if you're trying to become a bodybuilder and try to be like Jed Cutler, man, there's a strategy for whey protein in there, right? But if you're just the average person who's trying to slim down, be lean and mean, how does that relate to you? Well, let's go to the dietary advice that we get, right? What is it? 1 gram per pound of body
anywhere
weight.
from 0.8 to 1.6 grams of protein per pound of body weight, depending on your activity level. Obviously, 1.6 is more for an Olympic athlete, right?
Right.
But for the majority of us, is 1 gram per pound of lean body weight.
Right. So if I'm 180 pounds,
Right.
right? Let's just make it realistic. I'm 180 pounds. Okay. So that means that I would have to consume roughly 100 to 150 grams of protein per day.
No, so if you're doing 1 pound, you're 180 grams of protein. But if you multiply it by the 30% that
Right.
you're absorbing, you would actually have to eat 540 grams of protein daily.
Holy cow!
Hence
So
why those bodybuilders have that beautiful balloon-like belly.
yeah, people
Distended
think
belly.
it's because of the hormones. It's called leaky gut syndrome, and it
Yeah.
comes from the impact of consuming 540 grams of protein, which is what bodybuilders are famous for consuming.
Yeah.
That's why they have six packs with protruding bellies. But the point is this: I cannot eat 180 grams of protein.
No way.
I can't eat 180 grams of protein, much less 540 grams of protein. I mean, it's completely unattainable. The only way that I would be able to do that is if I consume liquid diets like
Guys,
whey protein.
just to be clear, consuming 1 pound of, like, for example, us, we consume 1 pound per body, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. We're really doing it with essential amino acids, so we don't have to consume all that food. It's not only for muscles, and if you see pictures of us, we're pretty damn lean and muscular, but it's more about maintaining all these physiological functions of your body to keep you healthy and vibrant.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with just muscle. Now, if you work out, you're exacerbating the necessity for more amino acids, right?
Right.
But just to be clear, that when we're talking about this, we're not just talking about muscle, we're talking about entire function.
Yes, correct. Absolutely correct. But you know, to stick to the theme is, you know, the nutrition aspect. Obviously, consuming, whether it's 180 grams, which is an obscene amount of food, even more so 540 grams, which is completely unsustainable, right? Like, how do we fix this problem? Because I can't consume that amount of food, right? So let's peel the onion back just one layer so that you really you guys get the point and drive this. So in order to make protein, and as Miguel was saying, you don't just want protein for your muscles, you want proteins for everything. So in order to make a protein, your body needs what? 22 amino acids? 22 amino acids.
Generally, in the public, you'll find 20. Again, based on Dr. David Minkoff,
Right.
if you read his research, there are 22 amino acids that make a
So
protein.
22 amino acids to make a protein, right?
Yeah.
Now, as you mentioned before, 14 of those amino acids are non-essential, meaning that your body can figure out and make them from other places, right?
You recycle them.
Yeah, you recycle them. 8 of those are essential. And what is the biggest difference? So imagine me giving you a guitar without strings. Would you be able to play me a song? The answer is no. If I gave you an engine without, like a boat engine without a propeller, would you be able to go fishing? The answer is no.
Or a gun without a trigger, you can't hit your target.
You can't hit your target. So in order for your body to make these proteins, it needs the 8 essential amino acids in their proper content, form, and quality at the same time. It's a concept of irreducible complexity, that if you have one missing item, one missing part, the entire system fails to function.
Hence, irreducible complexity.
Correct. So the best way to get all of your proteins manufactured is to get the 8 essential amino acids in the proper quantity. Because if you're able to get the 8 essential ones into your body, okay, then your body can make all of the proteins that it needs per day. And this is why Miguel and this is what we try to teach people. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. We don't count calories.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. I do not count grams of protein ever. And I'm not worried about it, because I know that as long as I have 10 grams of the 8 essential amino acids, my body is covered for the day. Now, like you were saying, of course, if you have a more active lifestyle or you're lifting a lot more weights and all this stuff, then
let's give them a little more realistic target. So one of the studies, you'll see this, that we spoke about with Dr. Minkoff, is they followed a bodybuilder for 2 years where he only ate carbohydrates and fats, like actual food that was just carbs and fat. But all his protein intake came from taking essential amino acids. He had 10 grams of essential amino acid breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It's 30
a
grams.
total of 30 grams of essential amino acid, which it would roughly translate to 90 grams of I don't know, a piece of 90 grams of chicken, right? In regards, if you translate it, the point is that he was followed for 2 years. This is a bodybuilder. He was followed for 2 years, and after 2 years, he had gained roughly 20 pounds of lean body weight, which is muscle, bones, and water.
Wow.
So, could you technically survive without ever eating another piece of steak, egg, and anything that has eyes? If you think about it, is protein. Yes, you can. You can actually survive. Now, life in my world would be miserable because I like having a burger. I like eating flesh, right? It's just kind of, that's my drink. I enjoy it, right? But just know that your body can survive without eating any of those foods, and you would actually get extremely lean if you were just to use essential amino acids as your protein, because it only has 4 calories for every 10 grams.
Right.
Which
That's huge. First of all, the stats on the bodybuilder who was a vegan who gained 20 pounds
within
of
2
lean
years.
of lean muscle tissue it's an incredible success by just using the amino acids. So I think that's a huge statement. But to what my brother was saying,
and again, just so they're clear, essential amino, meaning they weren't consuming the other. He was not consuming protein, just the essentials.
Yeah.
So the body was able to recollect the other ones to meet the protein demands on a daily basis.
And so the real value behind this, and this is why we've seen such incredible success. I mean, listen, if you come to our clinic, this is automatically by nature. I mean, short of you having some kind of kidney disease, like this is in your script because we have seen the power of introducing these things into the body, which are the way that your body makes everything.
Yeah, and especially if you're in your 50s and 60s and you're having faster protein turnover rate and you're going through sarcopenia. I mean, taking essential amino acids is extremely essential for you at your age. So
and remember, you're not going to be able to get it all from food. You would have to eat astonishing amounts of food. But here's the thing, right?
Wait, let me add one thing. And the reason why we know this works so well is because we had patients on, again, we're a lifestyle practice, but we started as a testosterone hormone clinic. And we had patients that had been on testosterone therapy. I'm just speaking for men right now. So testosterone therapy for 10, 20, even 30 years, like before it even became mainstream. And they started taking these essential amino acids and they called us back like, what the F? Like, this is an incredible change. And it makes sense because testosterone is a protein synthesis machine. So think of a manufacturing machine. And if I'm outputting 100 cars a day, but all of a sudden I dial in your testosterone by optimizing it, and I'm outputting now 1,000 cars, guess what I need to make the product, whether it's a car or whatever it is. What do you need when you're going to make a product? You need parts. So as you ramp up your protein synthesis rate, you also need to give the body the resources to make those proteins.
Right.
So these men who were protein or amino acid deficient, when they got them, they saw the mental improvement, cognitive function, improvement in digestion, bone density, skin. I mean, you name it. It's not, again, just for muscle. It changes your whole biochemistry. Right. So we know this works.
Right. But as it relates to nutrition, I'll just add this. Think about this for a second, right? You're not going to get all the proteins from food, right? And our food is, toxic. But here's the deal. Like anytime that you eat protein, you're going to spike insulin.
Yeah.
You're going to spike insulin. So the biggest conundrum in the fitness industry was, well, how do you build muscle and burn fat at the same time? So for so many years, they told us that this was impossible. But now that we have the discovery of amino acids, here's what you're going to do. So let's say that you do 10 grams of amino acids, which equates to like 30 grams of chicken breast. Yeah. So imagine having 30 grams of chicken breast in your body before a workout. So now you're going to force the body to burn fat for fuel because it's the only thing that it has for energy. And you're not going to catabolize your muscle and actually build muscle and sustain the workout because you have the equivalent of a 30 gram of protein meal for that workout. So this means that you can build muscle and burn fat at the same time without the insulin response of actually eating protein. Am I saying
for
that right?
those of you that want to get really geeky, yeah, the only thing I would add again, you're working out. So as we know, for those of you that are gym freaks, especially with weights, um, anaerobic glycolysis is the fuel source that we use to work out because we can't really convert fat into energy fast enough when you're in an anaerobic state.
Right.
Now, when you do have these amino acids in your body, as we said, can convert fat and protein or muscle tissue into carbs in your system. And I'm talking about we're working out on a 16, 18-hour fast. So technically speaking, yeah, if you don't have any amino acids, you could break down muscle. So the point is, your body will convert through gluconeogenesis the sugar it needs, the glucose it needs to fuel that workout. But whatever is left over, it's building and preserving the muscle mass, which is what you want. You want to preserve muscle mass. And the other reason, well, that'll be for a whole different conversation, we like to train on a fasted state because when we hunted in our ancestral days, we weren't hunting when we were full. We were hunting when we were damn hungry. So when you work out on a fasted state and you're giving your body the appropriate amino acids, you're telling at a subconscious level and a cellular level that muscle you're working out, whether it's your chest, your legs, your bicep, that muscle is relative, and make sure you break down everything else but that muscle because it's a survival thing.
Yeah. So, for all you guys who chase and gals who like chase down protein and, oh my God, did I have enough protein for the day? That's the biggest thing that I found when I discovered the amino acids is that I no longer had this obsession in my mind. Did I consume enough protein today? Right. I knew I was covered for the day and everything else was a surplus. So like what Miguel was saying, we have pools of sugar, we have pools of fat in the body that your body can utilize in order to produce energy, but we don't have pools of amino acids. We don't have pools of protein. They're sitting right on the bones. They're sitting on the flesh. So if your body needs it, it's going to leach from that, right? So now the value is that you can consume the proteins that you need without having an insulin spike and activating that system and build muscle at the same time, without consuming all of this protein, which will only make you bloated, will spike insulin. Half the time, I mean, how many times do you see guys that, oh, but I don't eat that many carbs, and they have hemoglobin A1C in the pre-diabetic level because protein can be converted into sugar and it will do it very easily. So I think we beat this subject to death.
Also, it's to realize that essential amino acids are already in a pre-digested form, so they get absorbed in 23 minutes with a 99% absorption rate because, again, they're in that pre-digested form. So when you're going to work out, know that let's just say 20 to 30 minutes, you've absorbed all those amino acids and they're working in your body immediately. Yeah. And the way you got to equate it is 10 grams of essential amino, well, at least from the one that we have, would be equivalent to 30 grams of a piece of chicken. So think of like a 4 or 5 ounce piece of steak. So every time you consume that, imagine you're having a little chicken or chicken breast patty.
No, it's incredible. And so just to kind of, because we've gone a little bit over the time, but just to kind of leave you with this message, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're starting out or whether you're, far ahead in the journey and you're very advanced and you're not taking amino acids, you have no idea what you're missing out on. And if you just added this into your protocol, you would see phenomenal results. So that's number one. Number two, which will be kind of like the next subject that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about peptides eventually.
Well, actually, no, I was thinking we'll leave for the next episode. If you want to make the perfect combination to these amino acids, we actually discovered a product that has 6 studies behind it called Miles MD, which is a myostatin reduced. We don't want to say the word inhibitor because it technically speaking we can't say that, but it reduces a protein called myostatin, which actually breaks down muscle and muscle tissue. So combining essential amino acids with something that forms muscle with something that retains that muscle, you can get away with working out less, or if you get injured and you're out for 5 weeks, you can ensure that you're not breaking down that muscle mass. And I feel that would be a great episode.
No,
or we can
Yeah,
combine
that
the Miles
completes
MD.
to me, and you
Yeah,
great
the Miles
point.
MD with essential
Yeah,
is
I mean,
honestly
listen,
the
that to
subject.
me, that's the perfect circle,
Yeah,
right?
it's the
Like you're
perfect
giving your body the
one that builds some
builds the
proteins and the
muscle,
one that prevents
keeps the muscle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a full circle. But even if you didn't have the miles available, just introducing essential amino acids to your protocol, you have no idea the kinds of results that you would have.
Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap it up, remember, you don't need protein. You need what? Amino acids, because protein can be converted into sugar very easily. So to wrap it up, if you have any questions about the utilization of amino acids, and again, we are sticklers about quality, and that matters a lot. So if you have any questions, just know that we always have coaches available for you that can teach you about this stuff. If you want to go deeper into the subject of protein utilization, absorption rates, and amino acids, you can visit our YouTube channel and watch our interview with the godfather of amino acids, Dr. Minkoff. But again, if you have any questions, just know that we're available for you. You can call us, and we'll be happy to spend the time with you to explain this stuff even at an even deeper level.
For now,
until now, share us, like us, all of that
follow
stuff
us, dance
that will
to it.
support us. And again, if you have anybody that will benefit from this, share it with them. And if you have any questions, issues, concerns, give us a call, and we'll point you in the right direction. Until then, stay healthy
and God
bless.
bless.